Um, let's start, Matt, with because you have a lot going on, right? Between podcasts and social media and your businesses. Give me kind of a breakdown of your business portfolio.
Yeah. So our business is two entities. The America's Best Restaurants is our media and marketing firm that we travel the U.S. and film restaurants and help tell their stories. And it's a marketing tactic, but more importantly, a way for them to get connected with their local customers more than a McDonald's is going to connect. And then Driver is our restaurant marketing software that we own that restaurants use to run their email, their text, some of their social media. It's an automation tool to help bring customers back over and over. So one side of the company helps restaurants get a lot of exposure, and one side of the company helps make sure they maintain the relationship with their customers.
Deadly. So so I've obviously looked into the where you go around the whole country doing videos. It's effectively like it's almost like in some ways like a big TV show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, diners, drive-ins, and dives or something like
Yeah.
that that people would watch here. Um, that's so that seems like operationally, it seems like a complex kind of a business, right? To be going all
Yeah.
across the country. Um, what what platforms is it all on social media
Yeah.
then that those videos get uploaded onto?
Yes. So I don't know what it's like in Ireland. You're in Ireland,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
So I don't know what TV is like in Ireland, but in the States, 1990s and early
mhm,
2000s, TV actually meant something.
yeah,
People sat on their sofa and watched diners, drive-ins, and dives on Food Network. In 2024, nobody's watching it. And none of these TV shows from 10, 20 years ago, for whatever reason, had a transition process to go to social. So back in 2018, I saw that and I thought, why don't we create a brand that is built for social? Everybody's living. Like I've got a 20-year-old, a 22-year-old. My wife is 48. My mom and dad are 77, and they're all on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So when we created America's Best Restaurants in 2018, the vision was to create a TV show made for the phone. And so I also wanted to be a little different that if I was Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, let's say on the Food Network gets all the
yeah.
exposure. So we did it a little different. We decided to broadcast our show on the restaurant's Facebook page as the priority. So when we show up at a restaurant, we do a 4 to 6 month marketing campaign. We show up, we film for about 4 hours, and then a couple months later, we debut a professionally edited TV show on their Facebook page so that they can get the likes, the comments, the
Right.
reactions, and not our network, because our network, who gives a shit? I want the restaurant to prosper and benefit.
Okay. And I suppose, like, as a let's say I had a small
Yeah.
sandwich shop and I reached out to you. What I suppose how would that how would that process work? What, is it like massive reach I get, or what's the outcome for me? I suppose.
So the outcome for us with the show, number one, we look at restaurants and we qualify them on a point scale of 10 different things within their restaurant: their presence online, their reviews, what we think their business looks like from like Google Maps, like make sure it's not a bad restaurant. And also it has to be independently owned and operated. It can't be a chain, can't be a franchise. It's not a
Why
big
is
big
that?
brand. I want to have an impact on the small
Okay.
people. Like McDonald's doesn't need my help. McDonald's has enough money to do anything stupid they want to do with marketing and go, oh, that $10 million was wasted, no big deal. A mom and pop sandwich shop doesn't have that. Like everything has to count, and so I don't think there's anybody out there trying to help that mom and pop restaurant. And that was the vision with America's Best Restaurants: is let's help the independents, not the big brands. And so when we do what we do, the idea behind it is we're letting them leverage our brand for recognition. So we look at a restaurant, we rank them 0 to 30 on a scale of 0 to 3, 10 different factors. And if they're 23 and above, they fit the bill, they're doing it right. And then we have a conversation with them. And the idea is, how can we get your story out? Because if you've got a McDonald's a block away, a Chick-fil-A, a Chipotle, a
Yeah.
Starbucks, nobody cares about the story. But if you're a local restaurant owner and you're in this business 80 hours a week, and your mom and dad, like in the States, immigrated from Italy, and you started this pizza shop in New Jersey, that's a story that people need to know about, and people relate with that more than they relate to the Golden Arches.
Yeah, for sure. Back in the old days, there used to be like pre-social media and stuff. When it came to business, the old adage used to be like location, location, location,
Yeah.
and you'd always hear people saying that's the most important thing. And of course, now you have social media that maybe if your business isn't, on the high street,
Yeah.
it might be less of a factor. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it's still super important, or?
Yeah, so location is huge. It is huge, but also it can be a big burden on you. That I've got friends who have restaurants that their occupancy cost, their rent, their mortgage is insane. And so for them to
Yeah,
have that high dollar location, now they got a break even point that's really high. I have other friends that are in complete shitty parts of town, but they created a cult following, they created a great brand, and they said, "Hey, we're going to work twice as hard to get people here, but we don't have to break the bank to be here." So the cool thing about 2024 is that if you go back, I started my media career in 1998. Location was everything
wow,
back then. If you had a terrible location in the back of a warehouse area, and you're a retail business like a restaurant, you had no way of getting somebody to come to your restaurant because you had to buy radio or TV or direct mail. So that's why a lot of businesses back then chose to have expensive locations. In the US, we talk about your occupancy cost, a lot of times your biggest marketing budget. That if you're in a very high profile location, like a Chick-fil-A probably is going to be, their biggest marketing is the fact that they're overpaying to be where they're at. Well, 20 years ago, that was a huge deal. Well,
yeah,
in 2024, there's no cost to be on Facebook, to be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. So you have all these opportunities that you can tell a story and get in people's phones and make that crappy location not as crappy. Now, I will say this. If you're looking at a spot that has had 5 locations already in it,
yeah,
there's maybe a reason those 5 aren't there anymore. So you got to keep that in mind.
yeah, for sure. On that point, and maybe you've kind of answered it, but I just chat like coffee shop owners a lot, and the guy I was chatting to recently has an independent coffee shop, and he was basically telling me that it's so difficult because you're competing with Starbucks, Starbucks in every corner, and Costa Coffee, and all these big global giants, and obviously their marketing budgets, as you mentioned already, is crazy. Do you think the likes of the independent store, when it comes to marketing, which ultimately the business you're in, do you think that this mom and pop or the independent store has any advantage over the big giant global franchises?
I think they have a huge advantage. I just saw an article the other day about Starbucks, how Starbucks identified a problem in their business and they said, we've got to change this right now. Guess how long it took that change to go global?
Go on.
Two
A long
years.
time. Two
Two
years.
years.
Wow.
2 years. It was
Wow.
something really basic that
Yeah.
they identified. Oh, crap. So that mom and pop coffee shop you're talking to is a small little boat.
Yeah.
That Starbucks is a giant cruise ship, and cruise ships don't stop fast, they don't turn fast. And so that is one big thing. The other aspect of it is a mom and pop can hop on trends like social media a lot quicker. They can see something that's funny happening and rock it out. It takes the Starbucks 3 months of committee meetings.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hey, this song is trending on Instagram. What if we did this? And so they take a long time. And I also think the biggest differentiator is the restaurant story. In the US, people love watching reality TV.
Yeah.
Nobody watches the cable shows anymore. Nobody watches NBC and CBS. They watch sports and reality TV. And on Facebook and Instagram, as a coffee shop owner, I would be going live every day. I'd be on the way to the coffee shop talking about the stupid shit that's bound to happen that day. Oh my God, I'm on the way in early. Somebody drove through our front window, which I know a guy that happened to the other day. Uh, our espresso machine is down. Oh, we've got a new employee starting. One of our employees got, valedictorian at their high school. There's so many stories you can tell that
Yeah.
that big brand will never tell and never can tell. And so while you don't have 15, $20,000 a month to spend that they might have on this one media, you've got your story and you've got a connection to the community that they will never have.
Okay. If someone you knew, let's say a friend of yours was opening up a small independent business, restaurant business, what guidance maybe would you give them? What advice
Yeah.
would you give them?
I give the same advice every time. ABR, attract, build, retain. So number one, look at every place you can attract attention. Matt Plapp wears orange every single day. My shoes are orange, my shirt's orange. So I attract attention there. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, X, they're all free. Get on there, do videos just like this and say, hey, guess what? 6 months from now, I'm opening this restaurant. And here's what it's going to be about. And here's what I'm looking to do. Even if 2 or 3 people are watching it, who gives a shit? Like, that's one more than zero. And so if you look at that and you just keep doing that, so you want to attract attention. The second part is build. You want to build a relationship. I just celebrated my 25th wedding anniversary with my wife last Wednesday. That happened 29 years ago in college when I asked for her phone number. And so you need to, when you attract attention, build a database of the people that you attract their attention. Hey, by the way, we're opening in 6 months. Who wants to win coffee for a year for free? Comment below, have it open up in Instagram. You can do automations in there, get their information, build a database so that now is the last part, R is retain. The only way you're going to grow your business is if you retain your customers. Retaining your customers depends on retaining their attention. If you have their email address, you have their phone number, you have their mailing address, you have them following you on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you can consistently reach out to them. So I always tell them ABR, track, build, retain. But biggest thing, tell your story, get on lives like this, take your cell phone and every day record a video and have a conversation with the people that are going to support you.
Incredible. You mentioned there about like maybe doing lives on your way to work, etc. There's a really popular food business in the UK called Spudman. I don't know, have you come across him at all?
No.
No. Anyways, he just has a little food truck and he just sells baked potatoes, but he's massive in the UK. And it's all just through social media. People go crazy about him. But on that point, so I noticed you did something yesterday about Joel Club,
Yeah.
also in the UK. I think he might be watching this live. Actually, a great guy. But you obviously are very in tune with restaurants. You're always looking at different places. What is there any, even globally, restaurant marketing that you really admire?
I say one of the top people like overseas, for example, is Dough Club. I look at in the States, a lot of independents, Little Italy out of Groveport, Ohio, Wooden Paddle near Chicago, because they're using the platforms for what they're intended to be used for. I have a Red Bull video that goes viral every few months. It's gotten like 15 million views, and people comment on there, oh, you're telling restaurants not to post pictures of the food. Red Bull's an entertainment company, a pizza shop's not. I'm like, bullshit. Like, your social media is social. Nobody wants to be sold to. So, like, when I saw your original question, you were talking about this earlier a couple of days ago, was who do I admire globally?
Yeah,
None of the brands I see are any good. Like,
yeah,
some of them have some funny nuances. Like, you know, Wendy's on Twitter is pretty funny. They go back
yes,
and forth and have fun with
yeah,
it. KFC follows, like, I don't even know what it is, but like
yeah,
seven
yeah,
herbs and 4
yeah,
Spice Girls. So
yeah,
there's some things like that, but most of them suck, to be quite honest with you. The people that are doing it right are like Dough Club. They're saying, hey, look, we're going to start this business, and look at all the stuff that happens. The guy, painting the walls, putting up the signs, voting on
yeah,
T-shirts. That's what I admire, is the people that are taking the platform and using it what it's meant to be used for. Storytelling, being social. And I think if you do that over a long period of time, it's no different than eating right and exercising. That it's not it's like in the United States. I don't know how it is over here. I know over here we're fat. Like, there's a lot of fat people in America. And they're fat because they don't consistently eat right, they don't consistently rest correctly, and they don't
yeah,
consistently work out. Marketing is the same as fitness. That if you look at it and say, hey, I want to lose 100 pounds in the next 2 years. I need to do this every day for 2 years, and then I'm going to see progress.
yeah,
Marketing, if you go live every day, if you do this 5-minute podcast like this every day on Instagram, and you were to do this the next 10 years, there is zero chance you would not be a badass in your industry in 10 years. It's just
yeah.
consistency over a long period of time.
Okay, and let me finish up on that. And I could talk to you all day. Uh,
Same here.
where
I
where
love this stuff.
where does I suppose a lot of people probably would be like, oh well, I want to put out quality. You know that thing about quality over
Yeah.
quantity. Would you be veering more towards putting out quantity, or how do you do that?
I think you have to start with quantity and then you find quality. Like, if I were to swing this to my screen, here's a microphone right next to me that I'll be recording a podcast here in a minute. I
Yeah.
think I'm on episode 704 of my podcast. Episode 1 through 50 sucked. They were terrible. But I'm like, you know what? Only person listening is my mom. So I might as well do it and suck it and let her see how bad I am, and she'll support me no matter what. But you get your reps in. So what I think happens, it's like Peter's on the other side of the camera here filming me on his phone. My son Cole films me. Quality is their work. Quantity was what Matt Plapp did in 2018, filming myself. It was poor volume. It was poor quality. The audio sucked. The lighting was never good, but I got my reps in. So if like you're a business, they always say like practice. People always say perfection kills activity.
Yeah,
That if you're trying to take action but be perfect every time, you're never going to do it. And at the same time, that's not what social media is for. People realize mistakes. Every one of us screw up every day. Every one of us say and like. We have nuances in our vocabulary. My wife says I touch my face a lot when I talk. She's like, Matt, you're touching your face. I'm like, whatever. Who gives a shit? At least I'm on camera. So I would say quantity, and especially early on, like that first year or two, do as much as you possibly can and then watch it. Like I have friends of mine I call nuance spotters. Hey, watch my content, listen to my podcast, read my blogs. Tell me what you see. About a month ago, Peter and my team said, hey, on your blog, I don't know if you cheated in school, but you do not know how to write. Get Grammarly on your computer so that your writing doesn't suck anymore. Like the message is there, but you don't have no clue how to use a comma. And so they were my nuance spotter. They looked at it, gave me honest advice. I fixed it. So my volume got me started, and my team and observations are going to help me make better quality.
deadly. Very final one. What is, you've been around for a long time, as you mentioned already. What's the future for you?
Future for me, same
Yeah,
thing. I'm not stopping. We're gonna America's Best Restaurants. My goal, our company name is called Restaurant Marketing That Works. That's the corporate name, and that entity owns America's Best Restaurants and Driver. My goal is to build this. I'll have to mail one of these to you. This is my vivid vision. This is our 3-year plan
yeah,
that maps out our entire company where we're going. I do these every 3 years. So my goal over the next 10 years is to build a $100 million company with multiple enterprises underneath it that all serve the exact clientele, independent restaurants. How do we vertically integrate with products that help restaurants accomplish all of their problems? Because the La Rocca's Pizza, who I'm meeting with this afternoon with one of my team members there in Topeka, Kansas, they will never compete with Papa John's.
yeah.
But how can we help them dominate a smaller circle around them? And for me, it's building a company that doesn't just offer a knife, has a knife, a fork, a spoon, a spatula. So we're going to continue on the same path. I'm 48 years old. My kids are grown. I've got 30 to 40 more years of work, I'm sure. So it's going to be a fun time.
Deadly. I thought you were going to say, you're going to retire and, sip a martini in the Bahamas or something, no?
I want to run and gun, man. When you retire, you die. I think when you retire, especially if you like what you're doing. Like I don't punch a clock every day. I don't care if I work 5 a.m. to midnight 7 days a
Yeah,
week. It's for people that I enjoy being around. Like the last thing I'll say is when I started scaling this company about 10 years ago and going towards restaurants, because we were a local marketing company in the Cincinnati
yeah,
region, and I had car dealers. I had all sorts of companies. And I had a friend of mine ask me one time, he's like, why did you had car dealers who spend a lot more money and are a lot wealthier than restaurants? Why did you go with restaurants? I said,
yeah.
because the car dealer client I had, private jet, owned a professional baseball team, mansions all over the country. As cool as that is, I did not relate to his grind. My restaurant clients that get in the restaurant at 6 a.m. and are there till 10 o'clock at night and got dough all over their damn face, that's my people. And so that was one of the reasons I said, if I'm going to build a company, I'm going to build it for people that I feel like I associate with more. And that's why we went with restaurants. So I have no intention of ever stopping. I mean, I'll be 110 years old doing the same shit.
Matt, thanks so much. Honestly, man, it was unbelievable to get to connect with you over this. So yeah, I really
Hey,
appreciate it.
hey, thanks. I appreciate it, brother. Anytime. Let me know when you want to do another
Thanks,
one.
man.
See you,
Chat to
man.
you.